We want better sales, right? We want better results. How many of you want tomorrow to be better than yesterday? So that's a remarkable thing. I want us all to think about that, because this is where human development always goes. Wherever we are, we seem to want to still go and get what? More, right? So I have a question that I want to ask for you. And this is one of the biggest questions that we have to ask when we're dealing with sales and we're trying to close sales and we want more business. How do we make sure that we have realistic expectations on what we're doing? Because this is one of the biggest things that get us in trouble. And I'm going to say that again. One of the biggest things, and you can write that down, and Don, you can keep that as a note. One of the biggest things that gets us in trouble is our own expectations. And I'll reframe it in the way that I want to say it. We're not as bad as we think, but we're also not as good as we think. And the second part to that, wherever I've gone, I go to the best people and I find out what they do and how they do it. I've been out here now 40 years. So I'm celebrating my 39th year of marriage this year. I'm celebrating my oldest daughter will be 40 this year. So we've hit some milestones that is rare air for us. And part of that is you learn from others, but you cannot compare your journey to others. And I'm going to say that one more time. If you try to be Bill right now, you're going to walk away feeling bad, because he's trying to teach you something that you need to know. He's not telling you to be him. Brian, you hear me? Because I look at Brian's beard. I want his beard. I want Brian's beard. I want everybody I see, you want something. You want to take something from them. I want to talk to you about the longevity of it. It's also in not comparing your journey to other people. Because if you do, you shrink. You shrink and I'm gonna share a story with you also. When we are on a journey, we're on that journey, and Bill, how many years are you into your business?
10 years.
10 years. That's a decade. And like Don said, I've been knowing Don for 20 years. And Don mentioned I was the top salesman for 2 Fortune 500 companies. And I was in the top 5% of a third Fortune 500 company. And all in sales. But after the second company that I was in, I thought my ticket was made. I was a corporate trainer. I thought I was on my way. And my manager looked at me. He said, wait a minute. I don't see the vision of you that you see in yourself. And do you know, within 6 months of that conversation, I was out of that company? 6 months. From being the top salesman in the entire country. 6 months later, I was out. And I started my speaking business. And this is going back to 1994. The only African American speaker at that time that we knew of was a man called Les Brown. Mr. Les Brown. He's the only man on the scene. And I came out, and in Chicago, I asked his team, could I work for them whenever he came into Chicago? He said, hey, Les is going to be here. You can come and you can sell his products. I started learning from the best. And I started selling his books and his tapes. He would always have dinner before he would speak. And so here I am trying to get in this industry. Next thing you know, I'm sitting with Les Brown having dinner. And at the time, he had just got married. And his wife at the time was, do you know? I can't hear you. Gladys Knight. So here you have Les Brown, Gladys Knight, and me. Oh man. To remember was that I wasn't him. But see, in my mind, and I'm looking around as though he's here, because he's not. Because he never moved in with me. But what I wanted to do, and I'm going to tell you this little secret. And Don, you better not laugh at me. Rachel, you better not laugh. And Brian, you better not laugh. I wanted Les to be my best friend. What you say, Brian?
I said that's real. I feel that.
You feel it, don't you?
Yeah.
We get out here and start networking, and then we start stalking people. So at the end of the event, I sold hundreds of books for Les. Thousands of people screaming. Gladys sang at the event. So I asked Les, I said, can I carry your stuff to the limo? So here I am, Gladys Knight, Les Brown, and me. I put his stuff in the back of the limo, in the trunk. Gladys got in. I even helped her get in the limo. Les got in. And I stuck my head in. And Les pushed it right back out. I called home to my wife and I said, I don't like him. She said, EJ, you went there to learn, not to find a friend. You see what I'm saying? But this young man, I was 34 years old. He was the first person I saw doing what I wanted to do. And I said, he's going to take me around the country with him. And he's going to make me famous. And my wife, I came home and my wife had to have a real talk with me. Because I almost went into depression before I started the business. So we have to have realistic expectations, and we have to stop comparing our journey to others. When we want to close a sale, there are several things that we have to do in order to close a sale. We have to make our product and services not a commodity. I want to say that again. We have to make our product and service not a commodity. Because once it becomes a commodity, what do people start making our product? They start making it price competitive, right? So in that journey to close, you have to become the expert of that product or service. Now, how many of you feel like you're the expert when you're talking to your customer? That you're just not another person, but you're the expert of that product or service? I see a few hands. Warren, which are you, up or down with that? Kind of, yeah, just be honest with yourself. Georgie, are you up or down? Down? Yeah. That's why we're here. You have to research your product, and you have to know who your competition's product and services are also. Because if you don't research that product and you don't research that company, and if you're talking online, you have to research the people, the actual individual you're talking about. Because if you don't have a history of them or their footprint, it's hard to know what their needs are going to be. Am I right? So you have to research. And in that research helps you become the expert. Because one of the biggest problems that people have in not getting a sale is not knowing their product and service, and not knowing their competitor's product or service, and not understanding the need of their potential prospect and what they're looking for. What separated Jordan and Kobe from just the average basketball player? What separated them? Was it the game? It was the mentality, but it was the practice. It was the practice that they did. And Kobe talked about that a lot. He said he would practice at 5 in the morning, then he would go eat, take a shower, then he would come back again at 7. And he said by the time he was on his third practice, his competition was just on their first practice. And what he did was he he sped up the learning process, and he sped up the mistakes. It takes something that would normally take 10 years, and he reduced that time down to 5 years. So you understand that? Because I knew in the beginning, some of you guys said, well, I spent about an hour prospecting. Do this over and above. I know when I played football in college, I was a defensive back, and I started for 3 years, and I was a true freshman, and I actually started a few games my freshman year. And one of the things I learned how to do was to practice when everybody else was sleeping or everybody else was eating, because I knew I walked on the team. I wasn't even a scholarship player. So how did I go from a walk-on to actually lettering my first year and getting to start some games? And I started for the next 3 years and was all conference. And part of that was being able to fail quicker because I practiced more. And then by the time I got in the game, and I asked the question to this, and I want you to answer this. What is tougher, practicing harder or playing in a game? Which one is tougher? Somebody give me an answer to that.
I say practicing harder.
Practicing harder. Practicing. So if we can practice and learn more, let me tell you the practice of sales and closing sales. Can I give you a title to it? And I want you to do this as much as you can. It's called role play. It's called role play. That's the greatest gift you can give yourself as a salesperson. You find somebody that you can role play what you're doing. You can role play the call. You can role play the questions that you ask. Because you have your sales questions, right? You should know those questions already. You should have a list of questions that you want to ask. When you go in, you feel so confident because you know that your questions are going to lead your prospect down a certain direction. And then you know that some of the questions are going to get you those things called what? Objections. So when you get an objection, if you're not ready for it and you haven't practiced in role play, when you get an objection, you freak out. I know Rachel is looking like, God. That's when you go, oh my God, the sweat is coming down your face, and the customer starts seeing you. And you know that if you start sweating and you start acting frantic in front of a customer and you start acting needy, will you get that sale? No. No, no, no. So by not role playing and not practicing and not having those questions ready, you sit there and you try to do this thing what we call wing. Remember that? You wing it. And you just go, I'm going to go in because I'm that smooth. I'm that good, right? And Rachel, she is just laughing and laughing because you can resonate with a lot of this, right? When you're not prepared, you wing.